Now, at the same time, these two things happen within like a month of each other. Russia has a revolution. All right, so let's say that your notes at almost the same time. I don't need these to be separate headings. We're just talking about this as changes at the end of the war. At almost the same time, Russia has a revolution. What's a revolution? When we talk about it as a country.
Beginning.
You're going to have a new,
Government?
Of government. They're going to have a change of government. They get rid of their king. All right, Russia's going to get new leaders. Now, we'll talk about the leaders later.
Will this be a dictatorship now?
This is going to be the communist revolution. This is when Russia becomes Soviet Union. We're going to talk about that in the next chapter. So Russia is going to have a revolution, which means they're going to have new leaders take over. Why do you think the people of Russia rebelled? What were they mad about?
The war.
Huh?
They're scared for the war.
They're scared. You're very close. They're not. I guess they would be scared, but I would. Huh? They don't got anything. So what do they want to do? Well, they're not going to ever get stuff. So if you can't get stuff in the war, what are you just going to have to do? Give up, forfeit, surrender. All right. So the Russian people were like, "Get us out of this war," and the king was like, "No, we got to keep fighting." And the Russian people are like, "We can't keep fighting. We don't have guns. We don't have bullets. We don't even have enough food." And the king's like, "We got to keep fighting." And now Russia lost more people than any other country in World War I. I think Russia lost somewhere around like 4 or 5 million, just them. All right, so what we're going to say here, the revolution happened because the people wanted to surrender. They wanted out of the war, and the king refused. All right? I think it's also worth saying at this point, too, if I were writing about this, I'd want to put in this idea that Russia had lost millions of people, more people than any other country. And so the Russian people had enough. Yes?
Will you repeat what you said?
Yeah, so one more time at the top. Russia has a revolution, which means they're going to have new leaders take over. The revolution happens because the people wanted out of the war. The king would not let them out of the war. The king kept on and said, "We got to keep fighting, we got to keep fighting." And the people of Russia were like, "We can't keep
So
fighting."
do they kill the king or just throw him out of power?
He gets killed. He tries, at the end he figures it out. He's like, "Oh my God, everybody hates me. I'm trying to leave." And so he was trying to he's like, "I don't want to be king anymore." And he tried to get out of Russia, people caught him and killed him. But you don't need to know that right now. All right, so all we're saying right now is there's a revolution, new leaders take over, because, again, the people couldn't keep fighting. They'd lost more people than any other country in the war. All right, and so when the new leaders take over, the first thing they're going to do is what?
Drop the war.
Drop it, surrender. So Russia surrenders. Now, you might want to highlight that or put a star next to it, however you guys are interacting with your notes so that you'll remember this. But the Russian Revolution leads to Russia surrendering. Russia is out of the war. Huh? So, do we know why Russia? Do you know why Russia had the revolution?
Yeah.
All right. And so you put down the why. You know what the revolution is, that they have new leaders. And then the result is Russia surrenders. They're no longer in the war. All right.
So, are they still allies?
Now, that's a great question. Are they still an ally?
I wouldn't.
They're going to get screwed, in my opinion. Now, they're not neutral. They lost. In fact, they had to give up stuff like Germany said, "All right, you're quitting. We're taking this much of your land." And Russia just had to kind of say, "Okay." So they got beat. But they had been an ally, but they got beat and they surrendered. Now, the allies, England, France, and the United States, aren't going to like their new leaders. And so when the war ends, they're going to dog them. You know, they're going to, and we'll see this basically in the next chapter, but they're going to get kind of treated like crap after the war is over. And so I'm going to say, we'll get there, just not yet.
So was the king right to keep fighting, or?
No. They were done. They lost. The only thing they were doing by continuing to fight was get more people killed. They were gonna, what they lost was what they were gonna lose no matter what. Yes, ma'am.
There was never any word where something.
Yes. All right. Now, this leads to Germany's final push. So let's actually go to, so now we talked about the changes, and we know that the Russian Revolution leads to Russia's surrender in World War I. Let's talk about Germany's final push. All right, I'm going to look at pull up the map of World War I real quick. So when we say Germany's final push, Germany was fighting Russia on the Eastern Front. So Germany was fighting over here, and then Germany was fighting England, France, and Germany was fighting England and France, and now the United States over here. Russia just surrendered. So is there an Eastern Front anymore? All right, so that's where we're going to start with. Under Germany's final push, the war on the Eastern Front for Germany is over. So they don't have to fight here anymore. The war on the Eastern Front is over. Russia surrendered. So what does Germany get to do now?
They can send all the troops back to France.
Good. All these soldiers that were fighting on the East can go over here to fight in the Western Front. Yes, so that's what we're saying. The Eastern Front is over. The Eastern Front was where they're fighting Russia. That's over. They won that.
What year or like what time did our people get there?
When did the United States people show up? 1917. The war's over in 1918. They were fighting Russia on the Eastern Front. Russia lost. So now all those soldiers essentially that were fighting Russia, now they can go to fight the Western Front.
Where are we fighting?
Germany.
Wait, if this is all about Austria-Hungary and Russia and Serbia.
Germany did all of it.
Huh?
Because Germany, so think of Austria-Hungary was like the little brother that started the fight. And so the little brother started the fight, but Germany's the big brother. Germany's going to do most of the fight. Yeah, because Germany was by far the most powerful country. If it would have been a one-on-one, it would have been close. But what happened was Germany had to knock out Russia, and then Germany was on the verge of taking out England and France, and then we showed up. Here's how you can think of World War I. If you have a boxer, let's say a boxer, Germany's like a boxer. Germany just went 12 rounds with an enemy and has basically knocked them out. They knocked out Russia. England and France are kind of teetering. Now, if a boxer goes out and wins this boxing match on a Saturday night, could a boxer get up on Sunday and fight another boxing match and win? That's kind of how it was. Germany had been fighting 3 different countries for years. 1914, 1915, 1916, now it's into 1917, and now the United States is going to show up. And the United States is going to show up with a couple million fresh soldiers. The Germans have already lost over 1 million. So when the United States shows up, what's going to happen?
We're basically going to kick them all down.
Yep. They're worn out. All right, so with Germany's final push, what we're saying here is they're moving all their soldiers to the Western Front. Everybody's got that, right? All right, all the soldiers. That's where France is, yes. Going to the Western Front, or well, they're going to continue to fight. They've been fighting for years. Now, the problem for Germany, or you could say luckily for the Allies, England and France, the United States is just getting there with over 1 million new soldiers. So the United States has just entered and has over 1 million new soldiers. And so I don't really like talking about all the battles and the back and forth and that stuff. Let's just keep it simple. Germany was worn out. Germany's worn out.